Today, we're going to be talking about pricing your hotel room rate. Now, a lot of hotel owners price from the position of fear. And you would know this because you ask this typical questions. You're asking yourself, why aren't we getting more bookings? What if our price we set for these rooms are too expensive? What are our competitors charging so that we can match it and make sure that we're not losing customers? Now, all of this are fear-based questions, and it all leads to you making bad decisions. Bad decisions on how you price your hotel rooms, meaning that you end up losing money. So, what you need to understand is that pricing hotel rooms is not about finding the perfect number. What you're doing is making the right decisions with the room you have left. That's the whole pricing system. Now, in this video, we're going to look at the proper pricing systems for you to use to be able to price your hotel rooms confidently. Let's begin. So before we get to pricing, and you realize this is our fourth system if you've been following our series. The first system you need to get right is your housekeeping, meaning that you need to make your housekeeping department consistent and so that your customers begin to trust you. The second system we fixed was the front desk department. So this is the perception of how customers view your hotel room. So meaning that you're able to handle your customer service complaints perfectly and you have no issues when it comes to that. The third one was system number 3, which was on property system, which was about extracting the most value from the customers that you have on your property. And if all of this is right, then you can move to system number 4, which is pricing. When these 3 systems are working perfectly, pricing becomes so much easier. You don't end up discounting because of bad service. So why do most hotels fail when it comes to pricing? It's because they operate from a place of panic and anxiety. Here's what they typically do. When occupancy is low, they drop the rates. When occupancy spikes, they raise the rates too late, causing a lot of missed opportunities. Now, all of this comes from a place of fear. And what you need to do is transform from asking these fear-based questions, which is why we're not getting bookings, what if our price we set is too expensive, into asking one clear question. And this is typically what high performance ask. They ask, what decision does today's demand justify? Because they understand pricing is not about finding the perfect number. It's about making the right decisions with the rooms you have left. Now, for any pricing system that you want to use, you must answer these 3 questions. The first question is, when do I raise my rates? The second one is, when do I hold my rates? The third one is, when do I restrict? So your pricing system must answer 3 questions. When do I raise? When do I hold? And when do I restrict? Now, in order to make these decisions, you only need 3 numbers, 3 simple numbers. And the first number is the days to arrival. So what days are you calculating or trying to make a decision for? How many days to that particular day? Second thing you want to look at is the rooms remaining. How many rooms do you have left for that particular day you're trying to decide for? And the third one is your booking pace. How fast are the bookings coming in? Now, the formula for calculating to be able to make a decision is very simple. It's going to be the rooms remaining divided by the days you have remaining, which is going to equal the pressure. Now, the pressure is what's going to tell you whether to protect your inventory, because if it's high, it means you protect your inventory. If it's the same, if the pressure is the same, you hold firm. And if the pressure is low, you wait for more information, you wait for more data because you cannot make a decision with such low information. Now, let's look into when do I raise my prices using this so that you see it exactly how it happens. So now you need to ask yourself, or you're trying to figure out, when do I raise my hotel prices? Now, here's an example. You need to understand that raising your rate is not based on hope. Oh, I'm going to increase my price and hope that somebody purchases or somebody buys. No, you listen to what the market is telling you and you listen to your demand. Take, for example, if you have a 30-room hotel, right, and you look out 10 days from now, which is basically going to be your weekend, and you're trying to decide, do I increase my room rates then or do I bring it down? What do I do for that particular weekend? What you now look at is normally what is your typical rate at which you sell out rooms. So now your expectation is that by 10 days from now, till the weekend, I'm usually 40% sold, meaning I've sold 40% of those 30 rooms. But then you check your calendar, and in reality, you have actually sold way more than you thought, which is 60% have been sold already. So your expectation is lower than what your reality is, right? Because you have sold way more than you thought. So in this situation, the market is telling you that there's a huge demand and there's a lot of pressure. And when there's high pressure, you want to protect your inventory by increasing your room rates. So the demand proves the rate increase, not you hoping, right? So what you do here is that you raise your rates slowly and gradually because you are listening to the market. Now, where a lot of hotel owners get it wrong is that they wait until the occupancy is super high. So they wait till when they're almost at 90% to start increasing their room rates. And by then, it's too late and it's too abrupt. Because now, if your rate was $120, you've jumped it up to 240. It's too abrupt and you miss a lot of opportunities, right? And also, you have sold rooms from this period that if you had gone from 120 to 130 to 140 to 160, a slow, gradual increase, you would have captured a lot more rather than waiting till you're at 90% and increasing automatically to $240 for that night. You have lost all this revenue. So now that's when you know when to increase your rates. Now let's go to when to hold. So the next decision we're trying to figure out is when do you hold your rates? Now, holding is one of the most underrated pricing strategy that most hotel owners take for granted, simply because doing nothing feels very uncomfortable, right? So let's take a look at the same example. You have a hotel with 30 rooms, and you're looking 10 days from now, and you're basically looking at for that weekend. So you're trying to decide what to do with the rates for for that particular weekend. Your expectation typically 10 days out from now is that we usually sold out our rooms at 40% occupancy. And then you check reality and you find out your calendar is saying you're actually sold out 40% now. So basically, everything is status quo. Your expectation and your reality matches the same, meaning that the demand is flow, meaning that your price is correct. Now, what you do here is nothing. You hold your rates. You don't change it because you don't have any more information. Your price is already perfect. So you don't change it, you leave it the way it is. You allow demand to decide whether you need to adjust your rates or not. What a lot of hotel owners typically do is they over adjust their room rates. They simply confuse activity with strategy. So they just feel like they need to be doing something. If the demand is low, when it's actually no, you need to learn when to hold because holding is confidence. It's signal that the price that you have selected is the right rate. And you simply let demand do what it needs to do. So this is when you hold. Now let's look at when do you restrict. So now the next one is when do we restrict? And restriction simply means is that holding up and making sure that you have the right booking. Let's look at the same example. You have 30 rooms and you're looking 10 days out for a weekend. So you're Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Normally your expectation is that you should be at 40% as at 10 days out, but you are at 90%, meaning that your demand is really high. At this point, what you don't want is just to accept all the bookings because you are so excited, you want to sell out your whole entire room. No. When you have this situation where the pressure is really high, you have to remember to protect your inventory. And why we protect our inventory is to get the best booking. That's our objective. Now, take for example, you would have some hotel owners who have 3 days open, which is for let's say one room. They have one room left, for example, and Friday, Saturday, Sunday is available. What they end up doing is because they are so desperate to sell rooms and just sell out the whole thing, they end up selling Saturday alone for somebody who wants to make a reservation for Saturday. What happens now? You are getting one customer at maybe a reduced price for this Saturday, and what you're losing is somebody who might want to book Friday and Saturday, which is 2 nights, or somebody who wants to book Saturday and Sunday, which is 2 nights. But you have lost that kind of booking because you just simply want to sell out and you sold out the wrong booking. And you have created offer nights because typically people never want to book Fridays alone. People typically never want to book Sundays alone. They want to book Fridays and Saturdays and Sunday. So you have to understand when your pressure is high, your enemy is getting the wrong booking. That's the worst thing you can do when you're at this occupancy rate. What you want is getting the right booking that's perfect for you. So in this situation, you'd want to create a restriction, meaning you won't allow anybody just book one night. They must book 2 nights, Fridays and Saturdays, or Saturdays and Sunday, whichever, because that's more beneficial for you because you already sold out. So that's when you restrict. So what's the benefit of using this pricing system? What ends up stop happening is that you no longer panic price. Basically, you stop pricing for a place of being afraid or being scared. No more rates yo-yoing. So basically, no more rates is down today, the rate goes up tomorrow, it drops again on Friday. None of that happens anymore. No more copycat behavior. Simply, you're looking at what competitors are doing and you're simply trying to match what your competition is doing, which is completely wrong because they could be pricing based on anxiety and then you're just copying what they're doing. This would stop that. No more emotional decision when it comes to pricing. So you no longer be saying things like, I feel like the price should be low, or I'm not sure if somebody's going to purchase at this price. Things like that would end up stopping. And you no longer regret overselling cheap rooms, meaning that you're regretting, why did I drop the price? Now we're still selling the room. We could have got a higher price. We just kept or hold that rate. That's what this solves. So now your pricing model or pricing system becomes boring. And boring is profitable pricing. Out of all of this, you look at the numbers to track. You remember, you track your days of arrival, the days remaining, and your booking pace. This will tell you your pressure. So if we have 30 rooms and we're 10 days out, and then you have sold out 20 rooms, you know that you must protect inventory and increase the price. If we're still 10 days out and we have sold just, let's say, 10 rooms, and you look at the pressure or the pace, this is typically not where we usually at, but it's okay. You hold firm on your rate. You don't do anything. If we're 10 days out, and let's say you have sold 25 or 28 rooms, and you have just a few left, what you want to do is you want to start implementing restrictions because the demand is high. You want to start implementing a lot of restrictions so that you get the best booking, not just any booking. So all of this is what revenue softwares typically do for hotels. You look at the big chains like Marriott, Hyatt, and the likes of such. Their revenue system software calculates all of this for them, right? And if you're an independent owner, you don't realize that this is all what it takes to figure out the right pricing. And it could be a little bit of a struggle at the very beginning. So all of this would really help you. And I have already created a lot of documents that you can simply use and plug and play for your hotel. The link's down below. Just click on it and download it. And I hope that helps.